June 26 in the year 2019. Good evening, Zambia. Good evening, Africa. And welcome to this special program, The Finance, that comes every Wednesday at this particular moment, as well as the channel, Muvi Television, Channel 1. And also, you are following this conversation on Top Star Decoder, Channel 104. Now, like I always mention each time we do meet here, that Zambia has 56 jury-registered political parties, but among all these, only a few seem to be interested in participating during elections. But as a country, as a media, our job is to continue bringing the leaders of these political parties to come on this platform and speak to you, explain to you their ideologies, their beliefs regarding their political parties. And of course, last week, we decided to bring in the movement for multi-party democracy, the late of Dr. Mumba, who came through and he explained a lot of issues regarding what this country is facing today. We can name a lot of issues to talk about the seemingly or collapsing economy, depending on how you're going to phrase that, as well as political differences. We can talk about the constitutional crisis we have as a country. We've been trying by all means to have a better country, but up to now we seem to be going astray. This evening, my guest is Dr. Fred Membe, who is now leading the Socialist Party. He's in the studio to explain the ideologies of the Socialist right now. And of course, later on, the phone line will be open where you'll be participating to engage us and ask all those questions you feel are important for the development of this country. Doc, good evening and welcome to The Finance.
Good evening, comrade.
Good evening. Right. I might mention that it's your first time to step a foot here at Muvi TV. Unless I'm wrong, we have to correct him because you are conversating, you and I.
Yes, I didn't even know the direction.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, wow. No, but we thank God because finally you are here.
Thank you.
Sure, sure. So this, The Finance, of course, the people of Zambia have decided to summon you this evening to speak to them and, of course, explain what Socialist Party stands for. You are welcome once again, and we begin by looking at, we have to define, before we define your political party, let's also look at who Dr. Fred Membe is, as well as your background, before we get into the nitty-gritties of your political party.
What do you want to know about my background?
Basically, who is Fred Membe, for the sake of Zambian people?
Fred Membe is Fred Membe. Yeah, I'm an ordinary Zambian citizen. Born here, in Zambia, bred in here.
Which province in particular, maybe you could be able to break them down?
I hail from 3 provinces. I belong to 9 Zambian ethnicities. 6 of them in Western Province, 1 in Southern Province, 2 in Muchinga, and in Northern Provinces.
Right. Let's talk about, of course, I know that we knew Fred Membe. We've come to know Fred Membe because of the Post newspaper, one of the company which was so vibrant in terms of offering critical checks and balances to ensure that the country is uplifted or the country becomes a prosperous nation for all the people of Zambia. And today, the Post newspaper is no more. What really prompted you to open up or to form the Post newspaper as a company? What was your motive? What was your aim?
Comrade, I'm no longer with the Post, I'm now with the Socialist Party.
Definitely, we're looking at your background, where you're coming from, and the wonderful job you've done for this country.
We have had 25, 26 years of dealing with the Post. Let's deal with the Socialist Party now.
Right. Well, I'm not sure because I asked this question not trying to bring certain things, but just look at your background, and we need to appreciate you that you've been among the few individuals who have really contributed to the development of this country, more especially the media fraternity where you are coming from, and where I am myself here. Maybe you could be one of those people who inspired some of us to be where we are today. That's why I'm trying to get you to.
Yes, I get you.
Exactly.
2.5 decades of doing one thing.
Right.
It's quite a long period. I got into the media in 1991 until the post was closed in 2016. So that's a long period, and we have spoken about that issue of the post for a long time. What now we need to dwell on is what we are doing now. And now we are in the Socialist Party.
I have to admit that you've empowered a lot of citizens in this country. Some of them are big directors of their own institutions. Some of them are working in government. Some of them have retired. Too much contribution, very positive contribution. And then let's look at the media. I have to begin from there. The media really, do you feel at a time when you left the media fraternity, of course you still remain as a journalist, a veteran moreover. Somebody was won a lot of awards, international awards. Congratulations for that. But let's look at, do you feel the media, it is the way it was some 20 years ago, some 10 years ago, when you were joining?
I think the media freedom space is narrowing. It was much broader in 1991, and it kept on broadening, and now it's narrowing. Now we have television stations being closed, we have radio stations being closed, we have newspapers being closed. I think we are not broadening media freedom, we are narrowing it. Things are much more difficult for the journalists now than the time we were running.
Right. We'll come back to that topic later on, but let's look at the formation of Socialist Party. I know that it was officially launched last year, if I'm not mistaken. But if you know what socialism is all about, would you just break down for the people of Zambia, in simpler terms, what socialism is all about? We've heard about capitalism and others, but you are coming with a different touch, different style. What is socialism?
Socialism is not about big words, it's not about bombastic words. It's a very simple thing. Socialism is about equity in terms of access to education, health services, food, shelter, and all the services required in an organized society. Socialism is about honest. You cannot be a socialist if you are dishonest. You cannot build a socialist society without honesty. Socialism is about humility. You cannot have a socialist society without humility. You cannot be a socialist without humility. If you think you are so important because you have got a lot of money in your account, your pockets are full of money, you live in a big house in Kum, you drive a big automobile, you have a chain of degrees to your name, and you are more important than other people, you can't be a socialist and you can't make meaningful contribution to building a socialist society. And here we socialists have got a lot to learn from Christ. Where was Christ born? In Bethlehem. What type of place? What type of place, comrade? Do you know the type of place Christ was born in? In a manger, where animals sleep. The Son of God was born where animals sleep. Who was the father to Christ? Joseph, isn't it? What was his job? A carpenter. Is a carpenter wapamwamba or wapans? A carpenter is a down person. There were many well-to-do people in Bethlehem. High priests, Pharisees, philosophers, all sorts of high people. But Christ was born to the humblest carpenter. Actually, you know, the status of a carpenter has not changed over the last 2018 years. A carpenter is still a down person. If Jesus was born in Zambia today, Which place would you be born in? To be John Lang, Maziopa, Mrs. Chivolia, Garden, Chaisa, Kabanana, and so on. Would they believe him to be the Son of God if he's born in John Lane, is born in Chivolia, is born in Mrs.? There will be problems believing in the Son of God. But that's the humility Christ teaches us. Born to a carpenter, the lowest person, in a manger where animals sleep, the Son of God. Who were his friends? Who were his disciples? Fishermen, lowly placed fishermen. There were many experts in Bethlehem, in Nazareth, who Jesus could have befriended. People well placed. He would be enjoying good dinners, good lunches, parties, and so forth. But he chose to hang around with these humble fishermen, smelling fish. When he died, or when he was put on the cross, who was on his side? Thieves. Lord placed thieves. So from the very beginning of his mission on this planet, Jesus was with the humble, was with the downtrodden. His entire doctrine was devoted to the humble. Socialism is the system for the humble, by the humble. It's not for the well-to-do, the most affluent. And in fact, the most well-to-do people have problems with socialism. They want to maintain their status of being above others. Socialism is there to serve the working people, the working class. And by the working class, we mean not only those in employment, but also the unemployed workers. We mean the small traders, the small business people. We mean the peasants. We also include the working intellectuals. Each class has got its own ideology. The slave-owning society had slavery as its ideology. And the slave ideology was for the benefit of the slave owners and not the slaves. And also they had their own political organizations. They had their own political institutions, which were not for the benefit of the slaves. The feudal society had feudalism as its ideology. Again, the feudal ideology or the feudalism was for the benefit of the feudal lords. It was not for the peasants or the serfs. Again, they had their own institutions, political organizations, to serve the interests of the feudal lords, who were the propertied classes, the owners of land, the ones who appropriated everything that was produced in that society. Capitalism is the ideology of the capitalists, right, and the petty bourgeois class and comprador bourgeois class that serve them. It is not the ideology of the working class. It is also for the benefit of the capitalists and those who serve them, the petty bourgeoisie, the comprador bourgeoisie. It's not for the benefit of the working class. It's not for the benefit of the peasants. The ideology of the working class is socialism. Right. Socialism is not for the benefits of the petty bourgeoisie, the comprador bourgeoisie, the capitalists. No, it is for the benefit of the working people. So each class has got its own ideology. Each political organization has got an ideology. There's no political party without an ideology. Even if those who would say ideologies are not for them, they have an ideology. This country, as you said, has got 56 political parties. Each of those political parties belongs to an ideology. In fact, the great majority of those political parties are capitalist parties. Of course, the capitalist parties don't come into Zambia and start those parties. No. They use the petty bourgeoisie. They use the comprador bourgeoisie to run those parties for them, to initiate those parties and run them for them, to serve their interests. The parties that we have can be grouped into one party. They are just sections within one party. They are all capitalist parties pursuing the capitalist agenda. And as we have seen throughout history, those who govern live better than the governed. The slave owners ruled. They lived better than the slaves. But the production was done by the slaves. Everything that was produced in that society was produced by the slave. The feudal lords governed, and they lived better than the peasants. But everything in that society that was produced by the peasants. The capitalists, the petty bourgeoisie, the comprador bourgeoisie, live better than the workers. But all the production in this world today is done by the workers. Only the workers can produce wealth. All the wealth in this society is produced by the worker. Even the capital that the capitalist says he has brought into production, it's not the capitalist who produced that capital. It is capital appropriated from the worker. Right. Only the working class can produce wealth. But those who produce today are the most suffering.
Right, very interesting actually introduction to what socialism is all about. Now I'll have to find out about the formation of this political party. We have this evening the Socialist Party. I know that it came into the scene, that was last year, and of course that came at a time when I remember it was a time when after the Post newspaper was closed, then later on Fred Membe really lived in Zambia for quite some time. He went elsewhere, and then when he came back Fred Membe as a different Fred Membe in the name of a doctor, as well as with the Socialist Party. What prompted you into forming this political party, the Socialist Party, following the allegations that maybe this political party was formed out of bitterness, frustrations after the Post newspaper was closed? And therefore, Membe, he thought of now joining the battle and beat, or perhaps face those people head on.
Comrade, I've never lived for a very long time outside Zambia in the last maybe 20, 25 years. I was here. Yes, I travel a lot, but I live here. I did not form the Socialist Party. It's not a party formed by one person. It is a party that was formed by many people. It is not a vision of one individual. It's a vision of many people. It would be a huge mistake to attribute the Socialist Party to me or to Fred Membe. Fred Membe does not own the Socialist Party, did not form the Socialist Party. He is a member of the Socialist Party like any other member. He joined the Socialist Party like any other member, not even to lead it. There is a difference between the politicians and us revolutionaries. I'm not a politician. A politician pursues a political career, pursues political office. We revolutionaries do not pursue a political career, do not pursue political office. None of my comrades joined the Socialist Party to lead it or to take up a certain position. We joined to be members. Socialists are deployed to certain positions. They are deployed to take up certain responsibilities. I'm simply deployed to take up certain responsibilities in the party, but that's not what I joined the party for. Right. When individuals start pursuing positions, when they become so occupied with positions in life, stations in life, they get derailed. They lose sight of the initial objectives they were pursuing. I would rather aspire for an anonymous place in life and continue to do the things I was doing to the best of my abilities. So what I'm doing now is not out of an ambition. Right. I'm simply doing a duty. For your own information, it took 12 months, more than 12 months, for my comrades to convince me to take up the position I've taken up in the party.
I actually remember during the official launch of this political party, actually your GS mentioned about that it wasn't easy for us to convince him to take up this position. Actually, he did confess that. Now, let's hear from you. Who are the main financiers of this political party? Again, there are a lot of talks that this political party is being funded by some foreign individuals whose main interest perhaps is to take over the country? Should you form government in 2021 or maybe beyond that?
Comrade, first, if you know what a socialist is, a socialist is anti-imperialist. You cannot be a socialist without being anti-imperialist. You can't be. We are against imperialism in the first place. This is a party formed by Zambian people for the Zambian working class. Of course, we are patriots without also ceasing to be internationalists. We are internationalists. We are internationalists. I grew up as an internationalist. I've grown up in the African National Congress. I've grown up in the Communist Party of South Africa, as it was called then. Now it's called the Communist Party of the South African Communist Party. I joined the South African Communist Party in 1978 when I was a student at the university. And I've been a member throughout until 1994. Even beyond 1994, I did not resign my membership of the African National Congress. I did not resign my membership of the South African Communist Party. Anyway, nobody resigns from the Communist Party. Even Mandela did not resign from the Communist Party. He just disappeared. President Mbeki did not resign from the Communist Party. He just disappeared. President Zuma did not resign from the Communist Party. He just disappeared. At least I've tried to say bye to my party.
What's the difference between disappearing as well as resigning?
Resigning,
Because,
you tender in a document. You tender in a document and say, I'm gone.
Resigned.
He didn't resign. He has never resigned. President Zuma has never resigned from the Communist Party. He just stopped participating. The same, when you don't resign, you just leave.
Right.
You don't account for your membership. So we are a Zambian party, but also we have an internationalist approach to life. Humanity is one. The working class is being exploited as a class globally. Capitalism is global. The capitalists who are exploiting you in Zambia today are not Zambians. They don't live here. You don't know the owners of these transnational corporations operating in Zambia. Do you see them? Do you know the owners of Rafaj? Have you ever seen them here? Have you ever seen the owners of Zambian breweries here? Have you ever seen the owners of Barclays Bank here, Stanchart, Stanbic? All these transnational corporations? Are they just in Zambia? No, they are the whole world. Exploiting the working class, the whole world. Maximizing their profits, the whole world. So our struggle has to be global as well.
Right. So in a nutshell, who are the financiers of this political party?
The party is financed by its members. We don't have money, we are struggling. My office is in Garden. If we had a lot of money, we would be operating in one of these skyscrapers. Where our members are in the downtrodden areas of Lusaka. Comrade Cosmas is operating from Bowlen. That's where his office is. Come to our office and see where we're operating. We are a party of the humble, by the humble, for the humble. And they think, because we have no money. It's a part of poor people, we can't win an election. Because for them, the capitalists, everything is calculated on the basis of money. So they don't even think we can win power. Where are they going to get the money to campaign? But life is not just about money. For us, our greatest weapon is consciousness. It's people. The capitalists, they see everything in terms of who is pouring in millions of dollars. As if a revolution is caused by money. You can have all the billions and you cannot carry out a revolution.
Share with us the answers to liberating the agriculture sector in this country. I'm sure you are aware that for so many years now, the farmers in this country have been lamenting in so many occasions due to lack of support, perhaps from government, although when you question those who are at the helm of power, they claim that they are doing everything possible to ensure the farmers they are given what is suitable for them to develop the sector. But as Socialist Party under Dr. Fred Membe should you win in 2021, you become president of this country, what is the remedy to the agriculture sector before we get to other areas of the economy?
Without sorting out agriculture, you cannot deal with the issue of poverty in this country. You cannot even develop other country. We stand no chance of developing without addressing agriculture. Today, 85% of our workforce is deployed in agriculture, producing only 90% of the GDP. That's the wealth of the country. Some say it's even lower than that, it's 5.4%. I'll stick to the conservative figure of 9%. 6% of our workforce is deployed in industry, producing 24% of our wealth, or the GDP. 9% of our workforce is deployed in services, producing 69% of our GDP, or our wealth. If 85% of your workforce is only producing 9% of your GDP, and that's what they are dependent on, that's what they live on, can you deal with poverty? The only way we can sort out poverty in this country, the only way we can reduce poverty in this country is to increase agricultural production. Or, if we had the opportunity to be able to transfer part of the 85% who are deployed in agriculture to industry and services, then maybe we'd be able to reduce poverty slightly. But there are no jobs being created in industry. We are losing jobs in industry. There are no jobs being created in services. We are losing jobs in services. So the only way out for this country is agriculture, and peasant agriculture for that matter.
That's practical.
It is,
unlike, because
we
there's
don't
no much
have-
difference, there's no much distinction between what you're talking about and those who have come on the same fora. They have also mentioned a lot and similar sentiments to what you are saying. So perhaps people want to hear different, maybe practical answers from the Socialist Party.
That's what I'm explaining. You jumped in the middle of an explanation.
Please, you can go ahead. Let me give you time.
Without increasing agricultural production, we can't deal with poverty. How do you increase agricultural production? How do you do it? That's the main issue. Firstly, you cannot increase agricultural production in this country with a Kambwiri. I don't mean my brother Chimba Kambwiri, I mean the whole. With the whole on your shoulders, you cannot increase agricultural production in this country. The Kambwiri is for planting flowers around your house, or 1 or 2, 3 beds of rape for your family. To increase agricultural production in this country, we have to work on the implements of agriculture, on the tools of agriculture. We need to start producing appropriate plows for our farmers, for our peasant farmers, appropriate planters for our peasant farmers, appropriate harvesters for peasant farmers. This will mean we have to start creating factories producing this equipment. We have no choice but to start producing agricultural equipment to increase agricultural production. Those factories will employ people. They will need engineers, mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, and their technicians. They will need HR people. They will need sales people. They will need even catering people because there will be staff canteens. They will need even clinic officers and nurses because there will be staff clinics. They will need cleaners. They will need drivers. They will need mechanics. In short, they will employ all sorts of people, accountants, ICT experts. We also need to engage in agro-processing. You can't get the cotton you are producing in Nyimba, Petauke, Katete, Chipata, Chadiza, Lundazi, Chama, bring it to Lusaka, compress it, export it to China and other places where you are creating jobs. We need to start having textile factories where the cotton is produced in Eastern Province. We need to start having textile factories in Eastern Province, employing engineers, employing technicians of all sorts, employing accountants, HR, and all sorts of other experts. Those people becoming even from here, Lusaka, going to Eastern Province to work. producing all sorts of reels of cloth of all types. Those reels of cloth, you don't just bring them to Lusaka, export them. You need to start creating clothing factories, employing designers of clothes, employing tailors, employing technicians, servicing sewing machines, creating small factories just producing buttons, some producing zips, creating jobs. The clothes that you are producing, they will need to be packaged. You need the packaging industries, creating jobs in those industries. Export also requires employment of people, experts. You need drivers to be driving trucks to Walvis Bay, to Durban, to Dar es Salaam to export. You need mechanics to fix those automobiles. So you start employing a lot of people. At that point, we may even stop importing salaula. If we find you with a bale of salaula, we may have to arrest you because you are threatening the jobs of our people. You are threatening our industries. At that point, our people will start wearing new clothes.
Are those long-term plans or short, immediate-term plans?
Immediately,
Should you form
we
government,
don't.
how much time do you need to
We don't
implement
need,
those things?
We don't have
because
to
we've
wait.
had a lot of promises before where people, they'll promise you to say within 90 days we're going to do this and this, within 100 days we're going to do this and this. When they come into power, when that time comes again, they give other excuses. So how much duration are you going to implement those?
It's not a duration. It's something that you have to start planning on while you're in opposition.
Right.
You implement immediately, you get into government. Look, the suffering of our people is huge. They have no time to wait. If you wait, you will not be able to address the suffering
Have you
of our
started
people.
yourselves?
Yeah. What do you think a party is for? A party plans. Part of our work is not just mobilizing people to vote for you. Part of it is working on your plans. You have to research, you have to do all sorts of things. That's why we need people of all skills to join the party. We need intellectuals who support working class causes. Because each
Where are
class
those plans being applied as of now? Since you are saying you have to begin now while you're in opposition, and I asked you, have you started? You said yes. So where have you started?
started implementing.
Sure.
How do you implement a government program when you're in the opposition?
I
What
thought
I'm
you
saying, we have started working on those plans.
Right,
We are researching on those issues and dealing with those issues.
right.
Implementing, you implement programs. These are government
When
programs.
you come into power.
Yes.
Exactly. All right. So I think we're going to squeeze time. It's not with us. There are a number of areas we need to look at. Let's go to the mining sector. I know that the country, since we got our independence, our mainstay has been copper, and there's so many challenges, so many problems. We have seen a lot of miners losing employment, and today, as we are talking about, we've seen the KCM company undergoing through difficulties. There's those antagonism between the government as well as KCM. A Socialist Party under Dr. Fred Membe, if you were in power, how were you going to handle this question?
Comrade, mining issues are very sensitive politically. They have been sensitive from the very beginning. Our first colonizer, what was he looking for here? Which is John Cecil Rhodes. We were not colonized by a country. Our first colonizer was an individual, a capitalist businessman with his company, the British South African company, BSA in short.
Sure.
What was he looking for here? Cecil Rhodes anali kusakira chani kuno? Anali kusakira ma minerals. He was looking for minerals. That's what Cecil Rhodes was looking for here. In the first place, Cecil Rhodes believed there was gold in our eastern province, where our Ngoni people lived. In the Chipeta area, not Chipata, Chipeta area, under the leadership of Mpezeni. He believed there was gold there because south of the Chipeta area, in what is now Zimbabwe, under Lobengula, Cecil Rhodes had found gold. So he believed up north in the Chipeta area, occupied by the Ngonis, there was gold. He said he sent his people there. Our ancestors woke up one day to find they are surrounded by so many white people with all sorts of gadgets in the bush, prospecting for gold. It was scary. But these Ngonis were very brave people. These were the ancestors of the Zulu fighters who had defeated the British Army in the Battle of Nsandirwana in South Africa. This was second generation. Very courageous people. I don't know if the Ngonis of today are still as courageous as that, but those were courageous Ngonis. They confronted them. Mufuna chani kuno. Nimwandani. No, we are from Cecil Roads. We have come to prospect for gold. Who gave you the permission to prospect for gold here? No, we don't need permission. Why? This is Cecil Roads land. How can this be Cecil Roads land when it's in peasants' land? No, it's not in peasants' land, it's Cecil Roads land. Our people realized there was a big problem, which may end up in war. Peasant, who was an old man at that time, became very worried. He realized that the prospects for war were very high.
What's the way forward now?
Our people were killed over minerals. 10,000 young Ngonis were butchered. Mupeasant's son in Singu, who was the commander of the Ngoni forces, was executed on the 5th of February, 1898. He was executed over minerals. The old man in Mupeasant himself was pushed into a depression and died over minerals. We were colonized for minerals in 1891. We are still being colonized for minerals in 2019. We made a very big mistake in 1991 in the way we privatized or liberalized the mining industry. We cannot afford to do that today. We cannot afford to do that in 2021 when we come into government. We can't afford to do that.
What's the remit?
We are not going to nationalize the mines. It's a complicated industry right now. We don't have enough mining engineers. We don't have enough mineral scientists. We don't even have mining economists in this country today. We don't have even the legal expertise required to run the mines. We don't have even the expertise required to market the minerals. If we nationalize those mines now, we'll run them down in no time.
Privatization is the way to go.
It's not the way to go. We are socialists. The ideal position is to pass on all the key means of production in the hands of the working class, collectively and in a socialized manner. But socialism is a transitional thing. You move into phases. It's a system where one foot is in the past, one foot is in the future, the body is in the present. Transitional measures are complicated because you have to take certain compromises. We may have just to leave the mines, the current mines, the way they are owned, and ensure that we collect fair taxes and pump those taxes into peasant agriculture, into education, and into health. Moreover, only 1/3 of our mining potential is under exploitation. We still have 2/3 to exploit. What we may need is to do what Chile did in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. They started sending more and more of the young people to study in the best universities, in the best colleges in the world on mining issues. Every university that had a good faculty in mining, where there's mining law, mining economics, mining engineering, you'd find Chileans. Today, Chile is exporting mining expertise to the whole world. Even here, we have Chileans working here. We will need to start pushing these mining companies to fund that. Once we have developed enough capacity, we can start exploiting the 2/3 that is not yet exploited, either with new, more beneficial joint ventures with others or on our own directly. For now, we may have to freeze issuing new licenses because the mining industry is not so beneficial. But of course, it's not only copper that is there as a mineral in this country. We have other minerals that are cheaper to mine, like manganese in Mukushi, Serenge, and parts of Luapula. We can form cooperatives of the working class to mine those.
Right.
The state supports in terms of capitalization, technology, and marketing.
Right.
So we will deal with mining in a different way.
Right. Thank you so much, Doc. We have to quickly cruise on this program. Remember, the viewers, this is the Finance Live on Movie Television, as well as channel 104 on the Top Star decoder. My name is Innocent Piri. Also, you can simplify by calling me IP. And my guest this evening is Dr. Fred Membe, 2021 presidential candidate under the Socialist Party. Is here to respond to the questions you have regarding the challenges you are facing. And of course, now we get to the judiciary, again another matter which needs urgent solution. For many years, we've been told that the judiciary is compromised. Cases which are supposed to be done maybe within 1 year, they have to be dragged 5 years, others 7 years. And of course, others, people still being kept in those correction facilities they are calling now as correction facilities from the prisons now facilities without being charged. Doc, within, I think we're going to divide the time within maybe 3 minutes each. What's the remedy, or are you happy in the way the judiciary is working currently?
In a class society, the judiciary serves class interests. It's not an independent institution. It's not a neutral institution. It's a class institution. In a society dominated by capitalism, the judiciary serves the interests of capital. It doesn't serve the interests of the working class. You go to your prisons today, who is in prison? It's poor people. The prisons are full of poor people. Do the poor people of this country have access to the judiciary? Do they have access to the legal system in a meaningful way? Can they pay the legal fees? What are their chances in the High Court? What are their chances in the Constitutional Court? What are their chances in the Supreme Court? Can they hire lawyers? So your judiciary serves the interests of capital. It serves the interests of the well-to-do. The poor have no chance in our legal system. Even the traditional legal system serves them better. They get more justice in the traditional courts. Probably we need even to invest a bit more money, a bit more resources in the traditional courts. That's where the poor go. That's where the poor get justice. These courts we have are not for the majority of our people who are poor. And mind you, we have very high poverty levels in this country. So all those poor people are excluded. They have no meaningful access to this legal system. The socialist government will change that. The working class will rule, and the judiciary will serve their interests.
What changes are you going to make, maybe under 30 seconds, in the judiciary?
It will be a judiciary.
Because today, again, we are told that the judiciary, there's independence in the judiciary, but in the way it is operating, for you, you are not happy. So what changes are you going to put in place?
It's not a question of me being happy. It's a question of facing the reality. What is the reality? If what I'm saying is not true, correct me. It doesn't matter whether I'm happy or not. What matters is what is on the ground. It's not saving my interests. It's not saving my happiness or displeasure. It's about what is on the ground. The poor have no chance in our legal system.
Right. It would be quite unfair if we do not touch the plights of our retirees in this country. Almost every day you have to record cases or complaints coming from our pensioners. As Socialist Party under Dr. Fred Membe, what is the answer to those who are watching you right now?
Look, the capitalist system under which we live does not care about the worker. It doesn't care about the worker. Even the pension funds are not being collected for the plight of the worker. It's money being collected to fund the capitalist projects. These shopping malls you are seeing mushrooming here, whose money are they using? They are using our workers' pension funds to build all these malls. NAPSA money is being used to build shopping malls. Do the workers shop there? Do the workers work there? How many jobs are there for the workers? Do the workers live there? No.
We are told
But
those
their
shopping
money,
malls are much better because they have come with employment to our people.
how many jobs are in these shops? Go around these malls and see how many jobs are
2,
there.
3, 4, 5 is better than 0.
Using workers' money. Using workers' money. Can't workers' money be used in a better and more rational way? In a manner that benefits them? Look at where they live in the compounds there. Look at where pension funds are building. Are they building houses for the workers, which they can afford? Look at those houses opposite Heroes Stadium. They have been empty for the last 6 years or so, built with workers' money, pensioners' money. Some of them are decaying. Workers pass there every day, swallowing saliva, and the houses are empty, built with their money. They are moving from Chepata compound, Kabanana, Chazanga there, looking at those houses every day, built with their money. Look at where the Zambian worker is living, whose money has been used to build those houses.
How long will it take you to pay them? Because I'm sure for those retirees, for them, they can no longer wait. They want a serious and immediate solution to their plight.
It's a question
How
of
long?
It's a question of priorities. Look at how quickly you pay your leaders their pension. You have your members of parliament, they get even mid-term gratuity. Immediately, the parliament comes to an end, they have gotten their money. These are the people who lead. These are the people who decide who should be paid. They are the leaders of our people. They are the leaders of our country. They pay themselves before they pay the ordinary people. Priorities have to change. A workers' government looks after workers first.
So the payment will begin as soon as you form government in 2021, if you will, or beyond?
The priority will be with the workers.
Right.
It's their government.
Let's change the discussion, the angle of discussion, the segment now. We look at the challenges the media is facing. We are going to look at the media as well as the constitution, and then we have to pack our bags and go. But let's look at the media, where you are coming from, a veteran journalist in this country, renowned journalist. You did mention in your preamble that currently the media fraternity is not as it was supposed to be. What changes do you feel as socialists you are going to make? We can give an example. The Post newspaper, which you owned, it was closed in 2015, or was it 2016, somewhere there. Again, the number of media houses, mostly the private institutions, being shut, being suspended then and there. And then when you begin to ask, they will tell you to say, Zambia is a country of laws, we need to put in place certain measures. As Doc, what's your answer? The people would be happy to hear from you, who is coming from the media fraternity, you know the challenges the sector is facing.
The way a society treats its media is indicative of where that society is headed. The media is not just a television studio with cameras. The media is not just a printing press churning out some copies of newspapers or magazines. The media is a platform for the people to communicate. Communicate among themselves and communicate to our leaders. To govern is to communicate. If you do not communicate, there are problems in governance. People who are doing wrong things do not want to talk much, do not want to be asked questions, do not want people to see what they are doing. They do not want people to know what they are doing. The way the media is treated is a big signal to the nature of society that is being created, to the type of governance that is being put in place. More Open societies allow more media freedom. Leaders who want to do an honest job allow more freedom to the media, allow more voices to be heard.
And you are going to do that as Socialist Party?
You cannot build a socialist society without honesty. You cannot build a socialist society without accountability.
You are going to allow the opposition political parties, leaders to have access to the public institution?
If you are honest, truly honest, you have to adhere to the rules you have set. One thing with the socialists is they are honest. They don't hide to you what they are going to do. If they tell you they will do this, they will do that. If they tell you they disagree with you, they disagree with you. You can't be a socialist if you are dishonest. So the media will play the rightful role.
Access to information bill, it's another debate that has been going on for so many years now. It's nowhere to be seen.
Whose access to information are we talking about?
The media.
It's not only about the media. Access to information is not about the media. That's a mistake people make. Access to information is not for the media, it's for the public.
For the citizens.
For the citizens. The media is just part of it. The media, the only difference is that it publishes. It broadcasts what it gets. Other citizens can go and access that information and use it in the way they deem fit. If you are truly running an honest government, why wouldn't you allow people to know what you are doing on their behalf? You are an agent. Why can't you allow the principal to know?
Maybe we might be judging this issue very wrong to say you members of the opposition, leaders of these opposition political parties, you have no access to the public media when it's you are not willing to go and utilize those institutions. Because most of them, they will come out and they begin to lament, to say we are not allowed to go to ZNBC, for example, when you have no interest to be covered by the public institution.
Comrade,
from your case, what's the truth about it?
You are in the media. There's no need to pretend. The state media is there for those in power. What we are looking for is a meaningful coverage.
Right.
What you are giving us here is meaningful discourse. You have not brought me here to humiliate me. You have not brought me here to paint me black. You have brought me here to be heard. And you have given me the chance to be heard. Can I get this on ZNBC? The answer is a categorical no.
Have you tried in your case? Have you tried to go there?
Did I call you? Or
I wanted you, the company wanted you to come here, the people of Zambia wanted to come here. Have you tried maybe to go to ZNBC, for example?
I didn't try to come here the same way I've not tried to go to ZNBC. If I was looking for the media, I'll come here than go to ZNBC. Where people even, you have heard of politicians being prosecuted for entering ZNBC. Dr. Nevas Mumba was in court for entering ZNBC.
Maybe the procedure wasn't followed. You never know.
What procedure did I have?
Even in a house, if I come to your house, I don't follow the procedure. I want to override the whole process to get into your house. Of course, I'll be penalized.
I think, comrade, let's not belabor something that everybody knows. We know how the state media operates. You know yourself. Everybody knows. Every Zambian knows. Even those who watch ZNBC, who watch the state media, they know what they are looking for. They are looking for the government voice.
Right. Thank you.
If you are looking for the opposition voice, you have to listen to Muvi TV, Prime TV, and other radio stations that are independent.
Right. Let's get your solution to the Constitution. I know that we've made a number of constitutional amendment processes. We can talk about the Mwanakatwe, the Mvunga Commission, a number of them. And then we had again some other amendments which were done in 2016 before the elections. Again, we are still bordering on the same journey as a country. Just a month ago, we were holding a deliberation, a discourse regarding the National Dialogue Forum, which brought a number of resolutions. As Socialist Party, why as a country have we delayed to come up with a better and sound constitution?
I would ask you the same question. What is the problem? Why? You are the journalist. You have been covering these issues. From my point of view is we have not been honest and sincere about our constitutional processes. If you want a constitution that favors you, that enables you to get what you want, as an individual or as a small group of people assembled in a political party, whatever its label, you will not create a constitution that will last long. Other people also, when they have the opportunity, they will come up and challenge that. There's need for maximum consensus on the constitution. Maximum consensus. Trying to dribble other people, it doesn't work. You cannot dribble others forever or for a long time. At one point or another, they also have a chance. And if they do the same, then you have a process that goes on and goes on forever.
Are you in support of the resolutions made by the NDF?
We were not party to the NDF. We refused to take part.
There's no patriotism in you.
Supporting the NDF, that's patriotism. Then that's a very narrow
It was
level.
a constitutional
That's a very narrow
discussion.
level, comrade.
It's a question actually.
Comrade. Supporting the NDF is a measure of one's patriotism.
Please.
I'm sorry.
So you don't support those resolutions at all?
I don't need to. And that cannot be the measure of a citizen's patriotism. Not agreeing with your government is being unpatriotic.
It's our government together.
So you should agree with everything that your government does. Even when your government commits crimes, you should support it.
Maybe the proposal was that maybe if you were there, you're going to shoot down some of these resolutions, such as the reintroduction of deputy ministers, among others.
They were there who were there. Did they manage to shoot them down? It's an agenda that
maybe
is
it lacked the critical minds like yours. If you were there, maybe your voice,
Comrade,
your contribution was going to...
Let's move on to something more beneficial to our listeners and viewers.
We are talking about the Constitution, and I believe that it's important. No wonder we want to hear from you.
NDF is not the Constitution. The Constitution is bigger than NDF. Zambia is bigger than NDF. Zambia is not NDF. Zambia is even bigger than the opposition. Zambia is bigger than the ruling group as well. So you cannot reduce this country to such a level. NDF is not Zambia. Right. There were other constitutional processes that were there. Why have they failed? Those who opposed them were unpatriotic. Those who are changing what came out of those processes are unpatriotic. If patriotism is measured that way, even changing the current constitution is unpatriotic because it was put in a similar way.
Right, as we wind up, I'm aware that sooner or later, that will be on the July 30th next month, we'll be having the by-elections in Katua. And since the Socialist Party was launched last year, we've never seen them participating in these by-elections. Tell us the secret behind that, or behind the restraint into participating in these by-elections.
There's no secret. What did we benefit by participating in these by-elections?
Testing maybe your popularity, as others are calling
There's no need to test. There's no need to test.
Correcting the governance in those areas.
We are a new party, and we don't want to pretend we have been there for years when we are just new. We are focusing on building our party now. Right. That's our main focus, and that requires a lot of time and resources. We are not ready to blow those resources on a by-election. Even if we won a by-election in Katuva, what does it change for the party? Nothing. It doesn't change anything. who will participate in the 2021 elections at all levels. And that's what we are preparing for. The by-election can pass us. They are by. Let them bypass us.
Right. I know that in 2021, it's going to be a big a competition coming, more especially with your contribution as well. But I remember on the 25th of March this year, your General Secretary, Dr. Cosmas, was quoted by the media having said that you have no intention to go into any political alliance with these other opposition political parties, because if at all, you have to correct me, maybe it could have been misquoted that your main agenda is to fight President Edgar Lungu. How true is that?
So
that came from the
when President Edgar Lungu disappears, our party disappears. You are saying our main agenda is to fight.
There was a mention that the main agenda is for 2021 so that we face and we fight Edgar Lungu. So is your focus really to fight President Edgar Lungu?
If Edgar Lungu is not there, then our party ceases to exist.
Please, no wonder you're here to answer those, because
no, I mean the question itself. Do you think Cosmas can be in a party just to fight Lungu? So when Lungu disappears, we disappear? If your main purpose is to fight an individual, what happens when that individual disappears? And an individual can disappear in so many ways. President Lungu can decide not to stand for elections. Then we disappear. The creator can call him to go and join him. Then we disappear. The party was not formed for Mr. Lungu.
Right. Right. Thank you so much, Doc. I'll ask you just within 5 or 6 seconds, perhaps, you face into that camera and speak to the people of Zambia and why you feel Dr. Fred Membe, together with the Socialist Party, is the right political party come 2021.
This is a working class party with completely a different agenda from all the other political parties. We have something different to offer. We are a party committed to the cause of the working class. We are a party committed to the cause of the poor. We serve no other interests other than the interests of the working class and the poor of this country. That is our agenda, that is our mission, that is what our party is about. The interests of the working class cannot be served by the current order. It is the current order that started in 1891 when Cecil Rhodes colonized this country, and that's the capitalist agenda that has brought us to where we are. If capitalism was successful in this country, we wouldn't be facing the sufferings and the challenges we are facing today. Right. There's no alternative to socialism.
Thank you so much, Doc. We appreciate that you've managed to find time and answer to the questions on behalf of the people of Zambia, as well as we'll continue again to invite you as we get closer to 2021. Thank you so much, and we appreciate you again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Dear viewers, we end the conversation here. My guest this evening has been Dr. Fred Membe, 2021 presidential candidate under the Socialist Party. Thank you so much to all those who managed to watch the program. You managed to ask those questions. We appreciate you. And of course, as a country together, we continue praying for the best as well as wishing our country all the best as 2021 draws near. On behalf of my camera person, Elas Chulu, and the entire production team, upstairs, Gabriel Mulenga, Virginia, thank you so much for those wonderful pictures you've been giving us, guys. May God bless you. And of course, the people of Zambia, stay blessed. May God bless Zambia and the entire African continent. My name is Innocent Piri, IP. Good night.